Right, well, now that we've all got plenty of spare time, and I've been watching far too much YouTube, I'm going to do my first toolbox talk, which all my work colleagues are probably laughing their bollocks off as we speak, because as we know, this is maybe my fetish, shall we say. As with all electricians, we do have a little slight penchant for tool collecting. Anyway, I've been accumulating and trying out, testing, changing, chopping up, my lineup of tools for the last 16 years. Being an electrician, mostly doing kind of commercial and residential, domestic. But this is the best box that I found, or toolbox, over that quite lengthy period of time. I've had Vito Pro packs. I've had extra large, the extra large tote bag, which was lovely, amazingly made. Apart from you fill the bloody thing up and it becomes like a 30 kilo dumbbell, and trying to move it around is a bit of a nightmare, especially on commercial sites where you're trying to go from A to B and you've got to be in different places, but they could be hundreds of meters apart. Don't get me wrong, this is ridiculous as well, but it's got wheels, and obviously this is just a toolbox that you wheel onto site. You put it in the middle of your workspace, and then you've got a work pouch that you take tools from here for the specific task or job you're doing, and then put them back in afterwards. But essentially you've got them all in one tool chest that you can move around site, and this is very, very, very easy to move around, as it does have a handle, so it's just like a very large piece of luggage. I have looked at Pelly cases. The Pelly case is ridiculously priced for what it is, and the orientation of the way that the actual toolbox opens it doesn't really work for me, I mean, at all. Plus it's about 800 quid for for a Pelly case with drawers in it and some big wheels. So yeah, I discounted that. This is a toolbox made by an Italian company. I can't remember the name. It's an A1 company or something. A1. They make this toolbox to order for several other manufacturers. I mean, this one's just branded as Stahlwille, but it's not made by them. It's contracted out to obviously a third party manufacturer. But yeah, it suits my needs. Now I've got to try and do, as with all YouTubers, I've got to manage to try and do this by with one hand, as opposed to having two hands like normal. But as you can see, top tray is more or less connecting tools and connecting up and second fixing, and the go-to tools that you use on a daily basis, as opposed to the more specialist ones which you don't tend to take out the box as often. But yeah, so you've got this main tray, and then you've got tray underneath. Excuse these are just templates for putting buckles in trunking lid. Most frustrating job in the world. But yeah, so you've got the second drawer, which is also kind of primary tools that probably use on a daily basis, or at least on every other day. You might see that I've got duplicates of pretty much everything, but that's just the way that I've always worked. I've always had duplicates of pretty much everything, just in case I leave the toolbox somewhere and I can't be asked to go back to the pouch. I've got a duplicate that I can use. But yeah, so my tools in general are all Nipex. Some of these I've literally had since I've started. But yeah, the majority are Nipex. I still use the old crocodile type strippers. I've had those decade. Well, I've had those. This is a set, apart from these maybe, that I've had since I started as an apprentice. And look, I can still see. You can't see you can barely see daylight through them, which I haven't blown But yeah, got the newer type ones. Bought these in Germany when we were working out there, maybe 5-6 years ago. But these are brilliant. The diagonal cut and the improved kind of leverage helps out a lot when cutting through things. But yeah, everything matches. Fortunately, I've got a bit of OCD when it comes to tools. Everything's got to be the same, and I found that also these fit my hand perfectly, or they suit me best. I mean, some things I just bought as a novelty. I mean, these are kind of like self-adjusting Shador strippers. They are good. They're good for kind of alarm cable and other fine cables that you don't particularly want to damage, and that obviously these ones don't go down to. But yeah, they get brought out of the box once in a blue moon, I suppose. But always nice to have. Always nice to have. Another pair of pliers. These ones, the only reason I bought them because they've got the offset, and also they've got a square jaw, which allows them to be used with gutter nuts and bolts, or the nuts at least, for containment. Not that I use those bloody things anymore because they're shite. You use hex bolts and nuts, and then you can use spanners, and you can use impact drivers with nut spinners. So these are more or less redundant unless I'm working on something old which has gutter nuts and bolts, or if I'm taking off banjo nuts and bolts where people have used fucking roofing bolts and gutter bolts for doing banjos instead of brass nuts and bolts. Everything else, Martindale and Fluke, that's going to be launched because it's shite. 3.5mm tap for obvious reasons, for boxes and fast fix boxes and re-tapping things out that have got graunched up. Usually when you're doing a condition report and you think, oh, I'll just take that one socket off and it'll go back on as smooth. Oh, it's not gone on. Right, got to rethread it. So it's always worth having one of these. I've got a M4 one as well, which I broke the other day, so that's in the post. Well, we'll see when it gets here. Small jeweler's flat blade for doing alarm panels and fiddly work, and also using it to pin out holes and check for joists and check for studs and things like that. That's useful. Small bashing driver, CK one with a hard kind of resin handle, very good, shatterproof, had it for years. To be honest, I found it by the ceiling on a job maybe 10 years ago. Still going proud. Marker pen. Don't ask me about the colour, it was just one of those ones that I found. Used mainly for kind of containment, so you can, rather than using a Sharpie and having it permanently on there after you've chopped or you've got a line that you want to mark, you can just wipe it off with a whiteboard marker or highlighter. It's far easier. Everything looks neater. Duplicates, screwdrivers. Won't bore everybody with what type. I mean, the Zola screwdrivers supposed to have a lifetime guarantee. Probably a good thing because I've snapped a hell of a lot of them. Backhoe ones, flat blades, large flat blade. Don't know why I keep it around, but still got it. Square, pencil sharpener for builder's pencils, always really useful. Inevitably goes missing on site where someone else has discovered the joys of being able to sharpen a builder's pencil without having to get your Stanley knife out, which is a bit of a bonus. Stanley knife, not the one that I prefer, but unfortunately the person who knows it, or the person who broke it, my last one on site, will know who they are. Carl. This is my alternative knife. It's crap, basically. I prefer the retractive type that you can pull the blade back with. I have actually got another one, a Stanley one, that is kicking around somewhere else, but I don't know where it is, to be honest. It might be on my work trousers. And then we've got circlip pliers, always very useful, kind of like levering out things and disassembling bits and pieces, and maybe for even using them for their intended use and taking off circlips and C-clips and retaining washers. Very useful. Also very useful at prizing stuff apart. It's always nice to have a pair of pliers that go the opposite way to the standard ones of with the jaws coming together. They force apart, so that's handy. As I say, standard selection of Zola drivers, insulated ones. Next section, scaffolders levels. Love them. Hard, heavy duty, very clear to read. The reason why I've got a duplicate is because the rare earth magnets fell out of this one. The epoxy just gave way and they started coming out. And as soon as they started coming out, they became slightly proud. Whenever you magnetised it to something and pulled it off, it would pull the magnet out ever so slightly, and the whole thing would be off level, which is highly irritating. So I've got another one with the magnets in there, but kept this one because sometimes you don't want the level to be basically to magnetise itself to something delicate or decorative light or face plates or anything that you literally don't want it just to clunk down on and scratch immediately. I mean, to be honest, whenever I'm doing something of that that kind of nature, I just put a couple of wraps of insulation tape around over the top of it, around the edges. But yeah, so we've got two of those. I don't know why, but I think that's fair. I've been using it as a gauge when I'm doing conduit and lining up the rollers of the former. Punch down tool, always very useful. We do quite a bit of data work. We do IP cameras and we do structured cabling, so use that quite a bit. Doing comms cabs and patch panels. Nice having a decent one as opposed to the normal chrome one, which is shite. Let's face it. People stand by them and say, "Oh, they're wonderful" when they start wearing in, and but you go around after someone that's done something with a chrome punch down, and literally you can see the cable hasn't even been pushed down into the jaws of the module. It drives me nuts. This thing hits like a fucking train when it goes in, and punches them all the way down to the bottom of the jaws. Well worth the investment. On the same level as a Fluke Networks equivalent, so it's about 70 quid's worth of punch down tool, which is ridiculous money, but as I say, it is better than the £10 chrome ones, which BT love, probably because they are £10 or 20 quid, whatever they are. Electricians scissors, I thought they were a joke until I started working in Europe, and they are very useful for all manner of things, stripping round cable, or especially European cable, FP200 or anything like that. You can use, they're very versatile for and small diameter cables, data cables and alarm cable and things like that. Very useful. Stubby screwdrivers get you out of a jam. Literally, if you can't get to the bloody screw. It's got a kind of PZ1 Phillips, PZ2, and a flat head. Probably need a few more, maybe some smaller ones. Angled screwdriver, very useful. For that one time in 6 months you have to use it. Then again, you shouldn't probably be putting accessories and pieces of equipment so close to walls and floors that you can't get to any of the maintenance screws, but it does happen. Another selection of screwdrivers that I use once in a blue moon. The most expensive screwdriver that I've ever bought. Don't know why I bought it. I thought Snap-on was the bollocks, and I thought, I might try out one of them before I actually, change the lot. So this is more of an automotive screwdriver. It's got a fiberglass shaft, so actually the only piece of metal in it is the tip, up to about this sort of point. So I thought, well, it would be ideal for being an electrician, super duper insulated and things, but actually the handle's so big and it's so chunky you can't get it into any terminals, and to be honest, that's a standard. I think that's a standard 4mm flat blade terminal kind of type driver. When you make that a comparison with the 4mm from the Zola or something like that, is rather useless. So yeah, I've got that scale ruler because it's always nice to be able to scale off drawings on site and not look like a muppet trying to use your tape measure and working out what the ratio of, you know, the correct scale on a tape measure, which is a nightmare. Two pairs of smooth jaw Nipex grips. Perfect, amazing buy. Recommend them to anybody for doing armoured glands, anything where you don't want to graunch up glands or anything. I also use them a lot for containment, for the amount of force that you can exert on a flanged edge or a piece of part of a tray or the edge of a tray to kind of squash it together and pinch it and make it all like factory finish, and also just putting it back to to flat, getting things flat again. They're well worth the investment. I mean, stupid money. I've got these ones, and I've got I've got the extra large ones, which are probably the width of the toolbox, that are 400mm long, that I've used no times, but I just like the idea of having them just in case do large diameter armoureds and need the extra draw, the extra capacity basically to do large diameter SW8 glands. But time will tell whether they're an investment worth investing in. Anyway, so that's the top layer of tools. I'm going to try and put these back with one hand. Right, okay, so anyway, and then the next part is like a mechanic's toolbox, which is perfect. I mean, this is exactly why I bought this box. The orientation of all the shelves and the drawers and how it works is perfect for me. Keeps everything kind of organised, but not quite. Right, first drawer is crimpers. That's because this tray's been pushed down over so many years of just literally leaning your knee on it and pushing it. This drawer's become quite tight, unfortunately. But yeah, first drawer is just crimpers. So we've got bootlace ferrules, you've got square bootlace ferrule crimper. It goes up to 16mm. That's why I bought them. And these ones, it's because these only go up to 10mm, I believe. Yep, they go up to, actually 6mm. So they only go up to 6mm, but these go up to 16, which is quite handy when you're making kind of, tri-rated links in discords and things like that. You shouldn't have to alter the manufacturer's internal wiring, but always handy to have. And then you've got the hexagonal ones, which are very, very useful for reapplying bootlace ferrules to RCPO fly leads and fine flexes and alarm stuff if you really want to take your time at things. RJ45 crimpers and RJ11. I have just bought the Nipex version of these. It doesn't do anything especially different, but it matches these ones, which is the whole point. He says moving on to two brands which don't match at all, but these I've had for years. Cloak, or however you want to pronounce them. These are for my insulated ring crimps or butt crimps. They've also got the ability to have the dies taken out of them. You push these two pins out and it drops the die set out. It should have the spare dies in here in the handles, but I found that they kept falling out, so I've left them somewhere. Can't remember, but the most frustrating part about these is they're amazing crimpers, but if you lose the dies, which someone did maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, the replacement dies cost almost the same amount as a whole new crimper, so I ended up buying a complete new set or a complete new version of this, and just gave them away to my cousin-in-law, who is an electrician as well. Obviously almost useless to him because he doesn't know the most important dies in the set, but hey ho, yeah, frustrating, but as I say, they are very, very good. Davco ones for uninsulated crimp lugs up to 16mm, which is quite handy because most only go up to 10mm. The 16, I purely bought these just for, you know, the most common types that you find, or common types of bonding that you find in domestic property. So you've got 10mm obviously for your equipotential bonding, and then you've got main, you know, your main 16mm earth, and it's quite handy to be able to do 16mm in a small profile crimper. Because most of the time, if you go up to 16, you start having to have the slightly larger two-handed bolt cropper type crimpers, which obviously aren't as small as these. Right, what have we got here? So more Nipex stuff. Got these, which are for well, they're for cutting armoured cable, but obviously it says do not cut steel. Well, fuck it, I do anyway, doesn't really affect them. The edges are still as sharp as when I bought them. Obviously I wouldn't recommend going full, whatever the full capacity is of them, cutting armours, because that's like a recipe for disaster, because obviously you're putting so much pressure on the main pins and things that they could end up popping or doing damage. But no, for cutting armours and saving time, they're amazing. Definitely worth it. Punch die, I use this quite often for doing trunking buckles, punching out, you know, holes for them. Very clean finish, far better than using a step cutter or using a large diameter HSS bit, which we all know when you go into kind of, you know, thin sheet metal, it almost, you know, twists and it, you know, mucks up the edge of the hole completely. Another set of Nipex shears. These ones are for special occasions, meter tails. Tried to keep them as pristine as possible in the last, like, 10 years or so. Unfortunately, about a month ago, someone managed to cut a couple of 3/5 screws, and it was soul destroying when you came back to find that they'd been borrowed and they got a chunk out of the blades, but I managed to grind them flat. They're not like these ones, which are the ones for cutting 3/5 screws and 4mm screws. Right, oh God, knee, so painful. Then we've got a couple of more pump pliers, or plumber's pliers, I don't know, 5 holes. People, you know, strange that people call them 5 holes when they don't actually have 5 holes. But yeah, a bit different from obviously the smooth jaw. It is nice to have something with a serrated jaw, just gripping stuff that you really don't care about graunching, or you need that extra kind of, you know, you need that extra power or gripping strength. Not as good as the other ones because they don't have the leverage that these ones do. These have obviously got, you know, a cam system which allows you to exert far more force. But insulated, had them for years. Always good to have, especially to have two pairs or a pair. Dismantling knife, yeah. Do I use it? Not very often, to be honest. It's more trouble than it's worth, but it's nice having them in the box just in case. These tools come with track lighting, mostly in like commercial retail, global. Always nice to have. They obviously come with it, but yeah, they're pretty good. Couple of tools for taking out light fittings, Quazzini ones. Anybody that's fitted them, I think they're called laser or something like that, will know these things as implements of torture, trying to get lights out from the ceilings. A compact mirror, of all things. It was, can't tell you how useful this is, especially anyway, it's a compact mirror. When trying to work underneath and putting LED strip underneath pieces of scenery or set, this is invaluable. You need one. But anyway, that was for one job. Cabinet keys, Nipex cabinet key, master cabinet key on a lanyard, perfect. Setting tool for drop anchors, impact driver bits for Hilti Huss fixings, which are the type that cut their own thread into concrete or pre-stressed concrete. Brilliant sockets. Cost a fortune. Impact driver adapters for sockets. Dimmer pot keys, I think, for Forbes and Lomax. I think these ones are for. They're rare, so I'm gonna keep those safe. Dismantling tool, very good. Ringing tool for dismantling armouds and using it for LSF flex. It's brilliant. Best way of stripping the outer sheath off. Literally, LSF flex, it pops and just comes off in your hand. It's perfect. Use it for armouds, FP200s, flex shield, everything, anything and everything. One of the most used tools I think we've got. But yeah, there. Alright, I've got Weir Joker spanners, M5, I think that's M6, yeah, so we've got, what is that, M5, yeah, M5, M6, M8, M10, M12, and then the other half, because obviously if you've got one, you need another one to hold the other end of the nut or bolt. So we've got the double-ended ones that have got M6, M8, M10, M12, so you can just hold the other end, which is perfect. Another brilliant find. Someone left it, rusting above the ceiling. It is now part of the collection. You've got an adaptable spanner, which is always useful. Don't use it very often because obviously I've got these now, which more or less make this redundant, but this is quite nice to have if you want something that you don't really mind scuffing up. Stainless steel Allen keys, very useful, very useful for doing outside lights and anything which is going to be exposed to the elements, basically. Using stainless steel, it's far better using these than using steel Allen keys. That they obviously, when you put them in the head of another stainless steel accessory or something, an Allen bolt, stainless steel one that's on an outside light or enclosure or anything like that, you get transfer of steel from the tool to the head of the bolt, and it starts to rust. But if you use stainless steel and stainless steel, you shouldn't get the rusting. That's the theory anyway. Small bit or hex bit wrench, very useful. It's got me out of the jam a couple of times, especially with some small light fittings where you need to put grub screws in, but you need to put this up through the hole, and very useful. Didn't think I'd use them as much as I thought when I first bought them, but yeah, very nice. But yeah, Joker spanners, always recommend them to people, especially the switch ones, which have got the offset heads and the reversible ratchet. Don't bother with these standard ones because they're an arseache to have to move over, and also you wrap your knuckles on everything. But yeah, that's that one. Next drawer. So, propane soldering iron with solder, very useful for on-site repairs and electronics, or LED tape seems to be the main one in commercial retail. Seems to be the thing. Putting live ends on LED tape and joints and other things. Strippers. These generic strippers made under license by so many different people, so it doesn't really matter which ones you buy. The only thing I would suggest is that get the ones with rubberized handles, because some of them just have hard impact resistant plastic ones like the CK ones, and if you're doing repetitive tasks over and over again, they start to hurt like anything. So yeah, they are a godsend for doing flat T&E, stripping off the outer sheath, etc. Copex cutters, and these are brilliant. They've got the ability. The one main thing is that you can actually cut the Copex with these front blades without actually perforating the inside of the Copex. It just literally scores the outer bit of the flexible Copex. Obviously only plastic, but yeah, very, very good. Highly recommend those. Then we've got a pair of miniature bolt croppers, which are very useful for catenary wire, or for bolts, or for, I think they go up to about M6. At a push, they do M6. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. I've got a stud cutter that can do bolts, so don't use them too often for that, but they get you out of a sticky situation if you do need like high leverage cutting force. So you've got those two, strippers, and then we've got bush spanner, so obviously for bush and conduit work. Amazing thing, great for getting into tight spaces. We've got a mitre block, which we use for the LED profile, the aluminium strip profile that you put, that you find mostly in furniture fitting and things like that, and under pelmet lights, and in some commercial retail spaces you put it into shelving and what have you. But yeah, they're really useful. Just a simple tile edge mitre block, very useful. Cable tie guns. So we've got a cable tie gun for nylon ties. Pet hate is people cutting cable ties off with side cutters and leaving razor sharp ends on cable tray and basket and in all manner of places, and then leaving them for the poor sod who comes along afterwards trying to pull cables in, slices your hand open on the side of a cable tie. So flush cutters a must, otherwise people know my pain. They know what I'm talking about. And then we've got, obviously, for the new rules, metal cable tie gun, which is a must nowadays, the regulations as they are. This I managed to pick up on eBay. I mean, these are about £500 if you buy them new from Panduit, but managed to get it on eBay for about 120 quid, which is quite good. So God knows which lorry it fell off the back of, in some factory somewhere. The same with the other one. I mean, I managed to get that on eBay. I don't think I'll be paying 500 quid for a cable tie gun that's got, basically this is the original one, and you can get from any wholesalers a copy almost identical to this for about 50 quid. So but this is obviously built like a tank. But yeah, very, very good. There we go. Right, so we've got that. What else we've got? Reaming tool, conduit, or deburring tool. Cleaning up the insides of the conduit, obviously with the sharp edges. Little end nipples, I think, for a fibre optic that we put in about 2 years ago. Don't know why I've still got them. Always hopeful that I might find another fibre optic that I can put the ends on those. We've got a selection of Allen key screwdrivers, or headed screwdrivers. which are brilliant. I mean, you can trying to use one of these compared to just using a normal Allen key. I mean, it's like chalk and cheese. Using these, if you've got the ability to be able to use it as a screwdriver and you've got the room to move, always go with an Allen key headed or a screwdriver handled Allen key. Far better. You get so much more. Well, you get more leverage with an Allen key set, but these are far more ergonomic and you can use them far quicker than an Allen key. I've got a set of the torque-headed ones. More and more European products that we're installing have torque heads. So always useful to have a set of those. They're always going missing because people borrow them, but well worth it. I've got a European fold-out 2-metre ruler, which is, to be honest, sometimes for doing repetitive work that's requires you to measure out the same thing. It's quite handy having something that you can just flip out and put next to a piece of work or something that you're cutting, and you're cutting a lot of them, and you can just hold it up rather than tape measure and having to have it lash back on itself, or having to lock it into position. Sometimes it is more accurate having a fixed rule. So I did laugh at people when I saw them for the first time, but I was converted. But yeah, so that's that drawer. Right. So put them back if we can, which I probably won't be able to now, of course. Now that I've pulled everything out. There we go. So too many tools. There we go. Put it back in. Right, last one. Whew. Deep drawer. We've got head torch, always useful. Dark spots. RJ45 ends. Eyelets or hooked M6 eyelets. Mainly we use them on decked ceilings or decked floors where you can use wedge nuts. Very useful. Have those. Use them quite a bit. What else have we got in here? Bashing screwdriver. Everybody has one. I've found that the CK ones with the metal head to be able to hit them, very, very good. It's essentially it's cold chisel. Use it from prying things to holding things to to knocking out the corners of back box. Or, when you're chopping in back boxes, knocking out the corners of the brickwork that you can't get to with a scotch or anything like that. So yeah, get some abuse. This is the second one in about in 16 years. This is the second one, so it's not too bad. You often find that they crack and split around here, and once they do that, the shaft starts to push through, and it essentially becomes almost like a dent puller, so the handle slides up and down. But yeah, so that's always handy. Scotch. Done plenty of chopping this one. Yeah, far more control than an SDS, especially light block and what have you. Gets far too much use, unfortunately, I should say. What else? Tape measure, 5 metre Stanley Fat Max tape measure, standard. What else have we got? Bit of tape. Drywall saw, fairly uncomplicated. Stanley set square. This one I've had for years. It's worth investing in a slightly more expensive one. I think they do about 3 in the range. There's one that you can literally look at, it bends, and you stand on it, which is die cast. This one is the more expensive one, which is a cast. I don't know whether it's cast iron. It might be cast iron, but very durable. Especially the actual blade or the rule is far thicker than the slightly cheaper ones. It takes some abuse, but yeah, for obviously containment and other things, it's worth having. I've also, I used to have another one, but always handy, keeping a flat, straight rule that you can also use for containment and using it as a straight edge essentially. But very, very useful. What have we got in here? So insulated Allen key for Henley boxes, meter heads and service heads, which obviously we don't tamper with, but it's nice to have just in case you do have to tighten things up. Nipex nibblers. These are very, very useful for cutting oval shaped holes for trunking, plastic trunking. You can notch pretty much any plastic trunking, at least. You can use them. They're quite often I use them for notching out grid ceilings when you're doing conduit drops from the top of the ceiling down surface down to sockets and switches and things, and you have to cut the trim. The trim that obviously supports the 600 tiles at the edges of the room. You can nibble out for that. Also, as you say, for bringing cables out neatly and getting that kind of factory finish when they actually exit trunking. These are brilliant. I think they're about 50-60 quid, but had them for years and then blunted, to be honest. They're good. Tin snips, Wiss ones, can't go wrong. Unfortunately, I broke the retaining clip, so that they're forever open in the bottom of the toolbox. I might treat myself one day and buy a new pair or make something that stops them springing apart. But yeah, useful for sheet metal work or using them for containment, cutting medium to light duty tray. Obviously not the whole width of it, but lips and other bits and pieces. And for cutting trunking lid, plastic, and trunking itself. But yeah, always good to have a pair of tin snips, regardless. East wing hammer, as you did the last job that we did before we broke up for this, before the lock-in, was an outdoor garden job. They got a bit wet, but yeah, always worth investing in a decent hammer. East wing, you can't go wrong with it. The weight and how it feels in hand. I thought it was a joke when someone said, "Oh, you can have a decent hammer." I thought, "Oh, blunt object. I'm not spending money on a blunt implement that doesn't need to hold an edge or anything like that." But actually, the way that it is in your hand, it's perfect. Perfectly weighted and just works really well. We've got these are Hellman boot application tools, or it's more commonly known within the company as fanny stretchers. But yeah, used them once in a blue moon. It's for kind of rubberized little tiny little rubber tubes that you stretch over the ends of access and Belden cables and things like that. It gives a nice kind of factory finish, but we don't do it very often. It's only when we've got time. But yeah, got them. We've got SWA saw, brilliant thing. Never seen anybody else using them. Maybe the electricity board, because I think this company do supply the electricity board with tools. But yeah, you can set the depth of the blade, which allows you just to go full hog. Where you can attack almonds and not have to worry about going through the inner sheath or going down to any of the cores, because you've got the depth stop on either side that prevents you from going any deeper than that. Brilliant thing. Highly recommended. I think they're about 70-80 quid, to be honest. Quite expensive, but brilliant, and you can use them for any size almond. It's not you're not restricted by using those kind of pipe cutter type ones or using a junior hacksaw, which this is just the get out of jail card. Basically, it's been in the toolbox for years. Haven't used it. Don't use it. What else have we got? Rat's tail file for conduit work, and just used to use that for deburring. Obviously got the deburring tool, but sometimes you can't be bothered. You've got the rat's tail file, bastard file. Well, not so. threaded hammer for putting trunking lid on, so palms of your hands don't get screwed up, and wrists when you're trying to belt on, you know, dado trunking lid, or you know, smaller MT2 or MT4 or something like that. A non-marking head allows you just to beat the hell out of it and get it on there without destroying your hand. But yeah, well worth it. Always recommend having a rubber faced hammer for it if you're doing lots and lots of plastic containment, which I used to. Yeah, knockout tool for Henley blocks and for heads. Used it a couple of times. Wouldn't recommend them. It's just in the box because it's in the box. Multimeter. I suppose you can't be an electrician without a multimeter. Fluke, always found to be very good. Never let me down really. The only thing is that because it's in the toolbox, unfortunately, because I've got open-ended tools like this, I've had it where I've put them in here and they've managed to snip the silicon leads, which is a pain in the backside, so you have to buy a new set. Obviously, the old set I've kept one, which is a bit of a pain. But yeah, Fluke 117, can't go wrong with it. Hasn't really missed a beat. God knows how many years I've had it. But yeah, so that's it. And I've got all my testing tools and other things and power tools in other boxes. But yeah, this is the main effort. But yeah, oh God, I've just realised it's gone into 47 minutes of video. So yeah, I'm sure people can have a laugh at my expense. But this is my normal day-to-day toolbox. Anyway, thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.